Well, greetings. This is Dr. Bill Wyatt again with the American Orthodontic Society, and I just wanted to talk to the people out there that I've come to really appreciate each of you. So many people have written back and asked questions and commented on the videos and things, and I am grateful for that. I'm grateful that YouTube has opened up the ability for somebody just to sit in their study and talk to people all over the world, really. And I think the happenings and things are so bad in so many ways. It's discouraging. I look at the Russian-Ukraine situation and think how terrible it is that these people in the Ukraine are being tortured and punished, and they have their country just literally tore up. And I'd like to plead with Putin, for Pete's sakes. Here he is, a person who's one of the wealthiest men in the world, and he had a whole army of wealthy people there that were going to govern Russia, and decided he's going to go down there and take Ukraine back again. After Stalin had starved, I understand, somewhere around 8 million people during World War II. That was just terrible. And now the Russians are going down trying to take over Ukraine, and they're just determined not to go. And I hope our government and other people around the area there get together and tell Russia to pull out of there and leave them alone. You've got more property in Russia than in any other nation in the world. And if you had a wish to, you and your group of oligarchs could make Russia one of the best places in the world to go, and have people fighting to get in there, to come to your country, instead of fighting to get out and struggling to get away from what's happening. I can't imagine the young men that they tell me that have died in this war of nonsense. I mean, Russia didn't need that area. He could leave it go. And a mistake back when Georgia was taken, we didn't go in and put the foot down and say, you're not taking this country. And that ought to be what was happening. But anyway, that's going on. That is a sad thing for mankind. I don't have any idea the number of people that have given their life to this ridiculous cause of trying to take the Ukraine. And I want us to defend them and stop this fighting that's going on. And then the Jewish people in Palestine, the Palestinians, if you had worked with the Jewish people and got together with them, y'all could have had the desert blooming and growing food in many parts of the desert if the effort was spent and the money to do it, to dig all these tunnels all under Israel. I mean, you spent no telling what to do that. If you'd have spent about half that and gone out and learned from the Jewish people what can be done in the desert, you can do the drip water system and raise more food than the people can eat there. And those are things that could be happening, but no, it's not that. And so I just sit down and worry about some of these things that are taking place. But I want to thank you for listening, for passing the word over on you doing what we can do with people's lives in orthodontics. That's just a small portion of this world that we're dealing with. But it's something that people want. I've been in many cases in this world, and I've spoken to people in many countries, and everyone wants to look better and to be better and everything. They want this. And I've had friends that were Muslim friends while I was in Nigeria, and several of them. The old tailor that came and made clothes for us. Another Muslim came and trimmed the hair on our children, and me too, as far as that goes. And I got along real well with the Muslim people. They were mixed in with the Nigerians. And I went out into the villages and we worked on their teeth when they would come into a bed. And one day in a village, I say a village is a pretty good sized place. And so old Muslim man who ran the village came up to me and said, I want you to put a Christian church here in our village. And I thought, my gosh, and you're a Muslim. And he did. Somewhere down there, I had fixed his teeth or something, and the guy appreciated it. And so we built a little Christian church there in this area. And he gave us some land to put it on. And the way we would do the churches back then, they made them out of just mud. And you'd make I'm gonna see if I can get something I can draw with here. We would make a rectangular, something like this. And it had some windows in it, and nothing in the windows, a door entrance to it, and had the top part up here where we spoke. And when we got that, if you got that full of people, well, the mission would give us, and we'd come in up here, and then we'd move our speaking part back there, and then we took mud bricks, and they had just mud floors in the churches, and you take mixed straw and this would be a small brick. I mean, and you'd make mud full of straw. This would be big, and you'd lay these mud brick down like such. I can't draw that all the way around. And you'd build it up about 3 or 4 feet, and you'd stop and let the thing dry out and harden, and then come back and put more bricks on it. And then when you got up and you get to places where you want to leave a window opening, and you put mahogany wood in there, and that was the wood that the termites didn't just eat up. And so you'd use mahogany like that, and then we'd put a tin roof on them. And that was the churches that we would get started in Nigeria. And I was there for a year and a half, and we got, I don't know how many of these churches started out in the bush country. And it was a satisfying thing to me. And I liked those people. And they were fine folks. But they were not the radical group that we think about today. But I have some hope that radical Muslims are going to straighten up eventually. That's not what the world wants. And so I'm sorry for that problem. But I've had fine Muslim people call me or write and say, you'd make a good Muslim. Well, maybe I would if I'd have been born into the Muslim world. But I was born in a Christian world, and that's what I really believe in. And I want the rest of the world to understand that. And it is so bad that people like Putin, he is supposed to be the wealthiest man in the world, or was at some point, and he has used his wealth and his power and everything, even in these oligarchs that are in that club he has. If one of them gets close to taking over with him, he gets put in prison. And that is really evil that's going on. So I'm going to hush up here. I'm not ready to give up lecturing to the people of this world on orthodontics. But there's a lot of good things going on today. I mean, I've just got these iPads, wonderful machines that do all sorts of things for you. And I am able to come here and sit down in my own little study and talk to people all over the world about things that can be done. And I hope that you will pay attention to that. And we've put out videos now until they're running out of ears. We've got over 970 or so videos. And they cover everything I could think about in orthodontics. And I want you to take this knowledge, and I think the pediatric dentists, the people that are doing children's dentistry, it is ridiculous that your organization doesn't want you to do orthodontics. That is so ridiculous. And I thought people ought to just revolt against that and do it anyway. That's why I worked my way into orthodontics through pediatric dentistry. and got into it that way. I thank you for watching, and I don't want to be talking about things that are so bad and everything, but good people ought to get up and do what is right in many of these places. So I ask you to think about this. The Palestinians ought to work with the Israelis, and if you had done that, they would have taught you how to make a garden spot out of the deserts. The deserts are taking over the places around now because herds of camels and goats and sheep and things go out. Any sprig of grass comes up, well, they grab it. And the deserts are taking over places. They need to be planting things and growing stuff so that when the water does come, it'll at least soak in the ground. So thank you for watching, and I hope that I didn't fuss too much about who it is, but there are good people in Russia. There are very good people in Iran. I know many of them, a lot of them. And the ones that are running it now are trying to back up the Palestinians is spending all this money digging tunnels under of Israel. So I'm going to say goodbye, and I hope this will have some good effect on the people around the world. So thank you for watching, and I'll sign off. This is Dr. Bill Wyatt with the American Orthodontic Society, and you can get me by Dr. Bill Wyatt, YouTube.com, and thank YouTube for putting these videos out for us. And I'll say goodbye, and I'll say I hope I'll be back again, but I never know. So goodbye and thank you very much.